Hello, kia ora, and welcome to the Creative Matters podcast, where we have inspiring conversations with artists from Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm your host, Mandy Jakic. Hi, and thank you for being here again with me. And if you're a new listener, welcome. Today I'm speaking with Naomi Azoulay. Naomi is a Middle Eastern-born, Auckland-based award-winning portrait and mixed media collage artist. Naomi creates captivating, bold, intimate and really vibrant mixed media collages and also oil paintings. She aims to tackle social justice issues, decolonise the art space, and expand the definition of beauty. She is very passionate about exploring the female gaze and probing traditional gender roles. With over 3 decades of experience in education, Naomi has also earned a reputation as an innovative and dynamic art educator. Naomi talks about her childhood in Israel, why she came to emigrate to Aotearoa 22 years ago, and how the Israel-Hamas War of today has affected her. We chat about how she discovered the art of collage, when she came to have the confidence to call herself an artist, and why she thinks collage is such a great medium.
Yeah, I think I made it my life mission to empower people and make art more accessible for everyone.
We dive deep into some of her collages and paintings, and we talk about why she likes to portray women in all of her work. We also touch on how she manages and promotes the 2 sides of her art practice and the amazing work she does in community art education. And she has some great perspectives on being creative in general, learning new art skills, buying local, the merits and magic of intuitive collage, supporting her community, and applying for funding, to name just a few. We had a really beautiful chat. Kia ora, Naomi.
Kia ora.
Lovely to see you.
Oh, it's so nice to be here. It's beautiful in Muriwai.
Well, thank you. And we've spent about 2 hours chatting and looking at the garden and walking around the house and looking at my art collection at home. And I feel like I've known you forever and made a new friend.
Yay.
So thank you very much for being here and welcome to the Creative Matters podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm a listener of your podcast and I love it. And I find so much inspiration and good tips and advice and just learning about my fellow artists in Aotearoa. So thank you.
Thank you. That's really nice to hear. So let's get into it. You were born in Israel, Palestine.
Yes, I arrived in Aotearoa just over 22 years ago. And I revoked my Israeli citizenship as a conscientious objector. And we all know where that got us. So, it's very painful days at the moment. But I still pray for peace. I feel every child is everyone's child. It doesn't matter. I don't see sides.
What part of the land they happen to live on, isn't it? And, just if they're on that part of the land or that part of the land sort of determines what side they're on. It just seems so unfair that all these citizens who have nothing to do with that end up sort of in amongst all that conflict.
So true, Mandy. I feel as we consume the news from outside of the region, media really portray it as sides, and it's it's very difficult to understand the complicity. I don't think we have anything similar to that in this part of the world. Governments are different than people. The people there all just want to live peacefully alongside each other. It's very sad.
It's so sad. And I can't imagine what it must be like for you coming from there and being on the other side of the world and watching all this carnage.
It's the first couple of months of the war, I actually really didn't leave home. And I found it really hard to meet with my Kiwi friends because I just had to explain. And it's so complex and there's so much history involved that when you feeling depressed and sad, it's really hard to be that educator. But I think there's a reason why I'm here. There's a reason why I left, and there's a reason why my work is even more important, to break those narratives that divides us and bring more unity and love to the picture. I'm going to say something that might sound very simplistic, but the way I see it is there's no women in leadership in Israel at the moment. In the Israeli government, there's no women, and there's no women anywhere around leadership on the Palestinian side. And for me, that's basically the reason why we got to such dire situation. I don't just believe, I know, because I've been to lots of pro-Palestinian protests in the past, in previous wars, and I always managed to find solutions when I talk to Palestinian women. I shook hands with many Palestinian women when we knew we'll find any solution but sending our children to fight each other. I feel it's very complex, but at the same time, it's very simple.
Yeah, and a lot of those decisions come from men.
Yeah.
All the way around the world, in a way.
Yeah, and even the fact we have countries like states and borders, that's patriarchal concept. I learned it after I moved to Aotearoa, that we don't own the land. We belong to the land. It's completely the other way around than Western society made us believe.
Do you want to talk about why you like to refer to yourself as Israeli-Palestinian?
First of all, first reason is because I'd like to acknowledge everyone's right on the land. Israel and Palestine is basically the same land. Even though now there's designated areas, but it's the same piece of land, and I want to acknowledge everyone's right on the land. And the other reason is there was a lot of talk recently with the recent war about Israel being a white colonialistic place, and that's really erasing all of us Jews of color. My ancestors come from Iraq, from Uzbekistan, from Tunisia, from Italy. I've got very rich Arab backgrounds. All my grandparents' mother tongue was Arabic. So I'm basically an Arab Jew. I don't think there's understanding for that complicity yet.
It's hard for us to understand what it would have been like being raised in Israel. Can you talk us through, what your childhood was like and how you discovered your creativity?
Lovely question. If you ignore the political background, which I always struggled with, I grew up in a flare of activity. My mom is a slightly hyperactive artist, or craft queen, I would say. She's predominantly a potter, and she had a studio at home, but she also does sewing and weaving and knitting and embroidery and woodwork and leatherwork, you name it. She built sculptures, so there was always some activity. I always had my fingers busy with something. Not so much drawing and painting. Mom always felt she had the lack of training in those fields. She was more three-dimensional. So, lots of crafts, not so much fine art. I was supposed to go to a massive, very urban high school, and I kind of last minute made a runner and went for a really cool art boarding school in the middle of the desert. And I've met lots of creatives from all around the country. I wanted to do visual arts. I didn't have the confidence. I didn't think I was good enough. And so I did video production and films. I directed my own little movie, and I did lots of video editing. That was still analog days. I'm talking about the 80s. So it was VHS cassette tapes and cut to cut. So I was very creative in that medium.
And you said that you moved to New Zealand, to Aotearoa, 22 years ago. What made you come here?
Oh, yeah, back then I finished my university degree. I did art history in the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, and my plan was to go to Africa and volunteer, do art with street kids, but discovered I was pregnant.
Really?
And at that time, there were lots of suicide bombers in Israel and in Jerusalem where I lived, and which are always followed by waves of hatred towards Arabs, which I just couldn't tolerate, all this hatred around me. And when having a baby in my belly, I thought, I don't want my children to grow up with hatred. Sometimes people in New Zealand think it was dangerous. It wasn't dangerous. It was the hatred I couldn't live with. So the father of the baby is from very well-known Jewish family in Aotearoa. So I came here, I was 6 months hapu.
Really? Wow.
I left everything. I had no plans. I didn't know anything about New Zealand. But I just knew I'm not going to raise children in that environment.
That's really fascinating. So you came here and... how did it feel? It must have been such a huge culture shock. And also, how did you get your art going and get back into that sort of...
There was no art at that point. I was... my first 4 years in New Zealand, I had 3 children.
Wow. That's huge.
And huge cultural shock. I remember I met someone and she said, oh, whenever you want to catch up, and she said she'll hook me up with a midwife and all that. And then I rang her and she said, oh, I've got a slot next Wednesday afternoon. And that was a cultural shock. Where I come from, you just pop into people's houses. You don't even text before you show up. And I thought she probably doesn't want to see me. I didn't realize how. And now I do the same.
That is quite a different way of being, I suppose. Yeah. So you raised 3 children. And then at some point, I presume you found your creative outlet.
While doing my art history degree, every time I had a couple of bucks, I just collected art books. So I ended up with quite extensive art book collection. And it was very expensive and tricky to ship it to New Zealand. And then every time we moved the house, all my friends like swearing at me, why do I have so many heavy books? And basically all those years I was hands-on raising children. They were just gathering dust on the shelf. And in 2011, I just was recently separated and found myself solo mom in a foreign country with no support network. And one Saturday, they had a 1-day collage workshop in Colville. And I thought, just to get out of the house and do something with myself. And I just went there and went for it. I just got in the zone. And when I came back home, I started with magazines. I didn't touch my books initially. I started collaging with old magazines on cardboard. But I had such supportive community, and people started cutting plywood for me in the shapes I like, more like Middle Ages religious icons. And yeah, I remember one day I really wanted some specific texture, and I just pulled my Van Gogh very fat book. And the moment I got my scissor into that book, I thought, oh, it's still a good book, minus a couple of pages. It's not a big deal. But that was it. My art book collection is shredded, and I'm very excited. It's got new life. It's out in the world. It's got new meanings. It's meeting other pieces from other books. I've got, especially my children's grandfather, but quite a few older people find it appalling that I cut up books. I just say, when you're a painter, you buy paint, and collage artist, I buy books.
Yeah.
Some books I bought a few copies of that, for example, Audrey Eagle. I think I've shredded 3 copies of a New Zealand flora book. It's all over my collages. Bridget Riley, another one I love cutting out.
Yes, I love her work. And that's your medium.
That's my medium. Yeah.
One of your mediums.
I think I started, I went home and it was kind of like flowing out of me. I put the kids to bed and just sit there, and there was not a lot of thought. It was just impulsive, like channeling something through me. I always wanted to paint. I never thought I can do it. And collage was a great way to be able to express myself, to be able to play with shapes and colors, but not having the technical challenge. And that's why I'm so passionate about teaching collage now, because I feel it's a great gateway medium for people who'd like to be creative and don't know where to start.
Yeah, and sometimes that's just enough to get the creative juices flowing, then that can lead on to other things.
Yes, 100%. So I run collage workshops all over the Mutu, and I get so many people that say, oh, I'm not creative, I can't do, and I just love to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
And collage is a great way to get there. It's a
great way, isn't it? Because it feels accessible. People don't think, I can't draw, I can't do it. Because often when people have a lack of confidence with art, it's because they can't draw or can't make something realistic, I think.
And because this notion of right and wrong, and because so many of us were told when we were young that we're not good enough.
Yeah.
And I think I made it my life mission to empower people and make art more accessible for everyone.
That's so good. So you sort of developed a little bit of a collage practice at that time. Were you thinking of yourself as an artist in those early days?
Not at all. Not at all. Again, it was the amazing community around me in Coromandel. I just kept creating them and gifting them to friends. And someone said, no, you need to have an exhibition. And they sent me to Solar Cafe in Thames. They said, the owner, she does art exhibitions and she's going to love your work. And I was very nervous, but it did happen. And I did have an exhibition. And I invited my friend, Caitlin Moloney, to take part in the exhibition with me. We had an amazing opening. We had cars full of people coming from Coromandel down to Thames to support us. We sold so much on the opening night, and it really boosted my confidence. And I think that was the moment that I felt an artist. I could call myself an artist for the first time.
How amazing. Yeah. And then from then on, were you pretty much working full-time on your art or working part-time as a sort of regular thing?
Back then, it was still part-time. I was very busy homeschooling my children.
Oh, wow. Good on you.
And running the community garden and the food bank. Yeah, I was very involved in the community, so it was very part-time, and I didn't even have a place. So every time I had to set up, I had to clear the kitchen table and get all the gear and the books. And it took a while till I got my own space. But what happened after the Solar Cafe exhibition is that I started applying for some more, and I got into the art show in Wellington. And and also Braveheart Foundation had a fundraiser, and they approached me. They saw the work at Solar Cafe and approached me to take part. And in both those big exhibitions, I realized back then my work was small. It was about up to 25 centimeters tall. And so there were small works. And I felt I got lost in those group exhibition, big pieces of art. It just got lost. So I went back home from Wellington, and I decided I'm going to do one large collage. And again, there was nowhere back. Once I started working large, that was it.
Really? You've stayed working large ever since?
Yes.
Amazing.
I'm actually thinking now to go back small again, but we'll see.
And the nice thing about the collage, you have made prints of some of your collage work that you can then, go smaller with your prints if you want to. Yes,
yeah. Once they're scanned, if they're large, you can do with the small ones. I can only have small prints. Yeah.
Brilliant. So you discovered that large collage style, which is probably quite uncommon in some ways.
Yes, very uncommon. Collages are usually small.
Yeah.
Unless you think of the snail, Matisse, the snail. It's a massive. I saw it in London years ago. But collage usually is small. You can't do them in large.
It would take so long, I guess.
Yeah, it does take long for me. And also gluing on wood is much, much harder than gluing on paper. When I run workshops, I insist people work on paper because then you can really enjoy the process. Gluing on wood is, every piece needs a lot of work to get it there. I have to use cloth and a roller and really get rid of the air bubbles.
Wow. Yeah, that's tricky. In 2015, you made that beautiful self-portrait, your first. You've made a couple, haven't you?
Yeah.
And I just love that work. So can you tell us about that one and the ideas around it?
Yes, that was quite a catharsis process. It was 2015. John Key wanted to send troops to Afghanistan. They were discussing it in government, and as a person who comes from the Middle East and traumatized by war, I just wanted to send this message to John Key and to Aotearoa to say, don't participate in wars. There's no winners. And so that was actually my very first large collage. So I got a photographer to take a photo of me, and I printed it and cut myself out. And then I just chose prominent New Zealand artists. So my posture, actually, I'm quoting Rita Angus from the Sun Goddess series. And also the name of the piece is Donna Nobis Pacem, which means grant us peace, which is a painting from a painting of Rita Angus. She was a pacifist. So I did a bit of research about her, and I just found myself crying, reading the book about the letter she wrote when she didn't want to participate in the war efforts and how important the painting she was doing at the time. So I got quite emotional. So I made my dress all in red colors to represent where I come from war and conflict. And the background is like the heaven that New Zealand is, full of New Zealand flora. There's also mountains by Rita Angus, Audrey Eagle, Robin Kaukio is in my dress. Yes, lots of representations of New Zealand artists in it. And it was just all about my experience and my knowing of how terrible war is. And I just don't wish New Zealand to take part in those activities.
Yeah.
So, it was a very emotional process. I don't think any of my other work is so personal, like the self-portrait. And I applied for the Hibiscus and Bays up in Mairangi Bay. First time I applied for a competition, and I was stoked to get a little award for it. So, that was a good feedback from the universe to keep going. I kept collaging for part-time for a bit longer, and then in 2017, I decided to shout myself on my birthday going to a drawing class. I thought it's never too late. And in Studio One, and there I met my still amazing teacher, Alvin Wong. I did, I think, a term of pencil drawing, and then I picked up his oil painting class. And apart from a few terms off when I had busy exhibitions, I've been going to Alvin's class since then. And
Really?
That's how I learned to paint. And now I know anyone can.
Yeah, that's really cool. And that's a good message to put out there that, you can. It's just really spending the time and getting the supportive tuition.
I think there's a myth that there's some people that are born artists and they just got this capability, and the rest of us are not. And I work really hard to work against that myth. I think I learned that it's a skill, like learning a language. Anyone can go to Alvin's class and after a few terms make amazing drawing and paintings. It's not something unachievable.
And what made you decide that you wanted to learn to draw, and how did you get into that painting?
I think I always wanted to paint since I was a girl. I always wanted to paint, and I never thought I could do it. So, you have to become old and wrinkly to dare.
Yeah, that's
sometimes.
So good. That's good advice. And were you feeling like you wanted something in addition to your collage within your practice, or did you? And I think the way that you actually run your art practice does seem like, there's the painting and then there's the collage, and with your Instagram pages, you have separated it. So how were you thinking that was going to kind of work?
For me, I saw the painting as just another stage developing for my collage practice. Basically, I stayed with the same topics. I'm still doing portraits. Yeah, I think for me personally, painting is just a follow-up, a development from my collage practice. However, I was told by someone in the industry that it's best I separate my Instagram accounts because serious art collectors or galleries who are interested in my fine art painting are not interested in seeing all my ads for collage workshops and community events. So I started last year a new Instagram page just dedicated just for paintings and keep my collage stuff separated.
And that's quite interesting, isn't it, in itself, that idea? I mean, do you think that people perceive collage as not fine art?
Some people do. I had a long conversation with my mentor, Linda Taylor, about it. She doesn't agree. She thinks it's just a medium like any other medium. But I think it's maybe not so much the collage itself that I create, is all the community stuff. I do a lot of community projects, and maybe it doesn't go well with presenting myself as a painter.
Yeah, and I can understand that. And I did that from my Creative Matters account. I developed the Creative Matters podcast Instagram account as well, so that some people can just look at that one. And I do post the podcast things on Creative Matters. But yeah, some people don't want to learn about what we're offering for children or whatever. So yeah, it kind of does make sense.
Different crowds, different audiences, yeah.
But there are collage artists who are, internationally well known and amazing.
Oh yeah, it's a very busy scene. There's a collage institute in Canada, and I get this collage magazine every month, and there's so much going on, and residencies and collage festivals. It's a very political movement most of the time. Yeah.
It's such a beautiful medium, isn't it? I love it.
The way I work is very intuitive, and I feel like there's quite a few people who offer collage workshops around Auckland. I think my niche is the intuitive way of really surrendering to the flow and not controlling the process at all. So I think it's quite a niche within collage.
And how do you make that happen?
It's the only way I can make it happen. I just, the more I run workshops, the more I realize how important they are and how they affect people's creativity. It's for some people it's easier to let go and just but I had a few students that really struggled because we are so trained to work with the brain and control every process and have a certain outcome we work towards. It's very hard to just trust the process. So some people, I really need to stand next to them and keep encouraging them and say, how does that feel? And just encourage that, talking to your inner voice and feeling it rather than thinking it. It's from what I learned from Rudolf Steiner is using your heart and your hands rather than your mind.
Yeah, and instead of sort of making a drawing and then filling it in with mixed media, it's quite a different approach, isn't it? It's kind of building on what you've already put down and responding to what's there. Is that right?
And allowing surprises on the way.
Yeah.
The less you attach to an outcome, the more surprises and amazing things happen. And actually, there's interesting research to support that, because the moment we manage to quieten the mind, it's the subconscious that come into action. So what I see a lot is people who create stuff, they have no idea why, and then they go home and they ring me a few days later and tell me, wow, there's my dead mom, or there's my issue, or there's my something I've been thinking about. I didn't even realize I glued it. I didn't even realize I put those two pieces together, but it's very magical.
It's powerful, isn't it? Yeah, amazing. And when you work yourself on your collage, you clearly have an idea or a theme that you're wanting to explore. Do you have a sort of a combination of something planned but also work intuitively?
Oh, yes. So because it's portraits, I usually, with collage, I choose the person and then combination of do a research about them. If it's usually it's someone famous, so I do a bit of research to know more about them and their work. And then I meditate. So I usually glue the person piece in the middle, and I just have that in front of me, and I just meditate. Sometimes it's just it usually sits there for a few days before I actually, and I ask her what she wants. So I get the feeling, the general feeling that she wants. I get the colors that she wants. It's more I'm challenging her than me telling her how she needs to. Yeah, it's a bit more humble process, I suppose. And then once I know and I cut, it's just a flow. It's usually music. Like when I paint, it's more podcast, and when I collage, it's music. It's a really different part of the brain.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Oh, it just makes me want to go out and do some collage. In fact, I was going to ask you that if you'd like to work with my educators and do a intuitive collage workshop for Creative Matters.
I would love to.
Okay, we will talk and make a date.
Yeah, that's why I say that dangerous topic, because the more I run workshops, the more I get passionate about it. And I got to the point, I've realized in recent workshop, that just the sound of people tearing up paper, it just releases dopamine in my brain.
Really?
I love it so much.
That's so great. And it must be such a lovely feeling for you as an art educator to see people kind of take themselves to these places that maybe they've never gone.
Oh, it's, I feel it's probably the most important thing I do for the community. I've had lots of people who come and do a bit of collage with me, go home and start cutting up things at home, which also got a sustainable aspect for it, apart from the creative. But there's quite a few people who went on and took art classes, drawing classes. I've got a friend who's doing an art degree after collage sparked it in her. So I think what I wished for myself, I'd like to give others.
That's a really beautiful gift. Yeah, gorgeous. And you've had workshops at Corbin Estate and Studio One?
Yes, all over the place. Studio One, Corbin Estate, Nathan Homestead, Shiloh. It's a new art center in Onehunga. Lobdell, I've been in upstairs and in Lobdell House on the other side. Schools, I've been to Michael Park Schools. I've been lots of community organizations around, not just West Auckland, but mostly, yeah.
That's so good. And sometimes you do get funding from Creative Communities Scheme and other places.
Yeah, I got my first successful grant for last December. I did 6 collage or Christmas cards events, which is the 3rd year I'm doing them, but every year I do more events. And yeah, definitely I'm going to apply for that again. It's been such a success.
And that was a free workshop?
It's not quite a workshop. It's more like a pop-up station. So I've been in Studio One when they had a Christmas maker markets in the big room upstairs, and in Grayling Library and other libraries. And I just open a station in the middle of the library or the venue or Ellen Melvin Center. And it's just anyone can come and make Christmas cards. They can make 1 card. They can make 100 cards. Everything is free. All the materials are free. And wow, I've met some interesting people and seen some amazing cards.
I bet you have. That's so great and so lovely to be able to make art so accessible and so easy to engage with.
It's so inspiring, collage, because the moment people start cutting up colors and images, they see the potential in stuff that they thought was rubbish.
Yeah.
It's very infectious.
Totally. And for those of us who try to get funding for different projects, have you got any advice on what works?
Sure. I think, first of all, you have to understand before you start those applications, same for competitions and for grants, you'll get a few no's before you get a yes. Don't get disheartened when you get a no. That's a very important thing to remember. If you get a no, it doesn't mean your idea is not good. It just means it didn't fit this criteria at this point in time. So keep trying. And I think, which is what I'm doing these days, just write a really good report. I think there's lots of us who got good ideas, but it's really hard to, when you finish the event, to sit and write a good report, get good photos, get feedback from the community. That's very important for the funders to understand where the money was spent.
So do you think that they actually, as they're assessing a new application, if you've applied for funding in the past, do you think that report is actually quite an important part of the next funding process.
From my understanding, very much so. I think it's a relationship. If you're a person that they never heard of, there's trust issues. But the moment you deliver and you show that you're serious and you walk the talk and you use the money in the best way possible, and you can show a clear budget, then they're more inclined to work with you in the future.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
It's a relationship.
Yeah, exactly. You are referred to as an award-winning portrait artist. And as you said, the collage and the oil paintings are portraits. So how do you choose your subjects for collage and for painting? And is there any difference in between?
Yeah, well, similarities and differences. So for collage, as I said, it's usually famous people that I really think needs more spotlight, or I just really appreciate them and want to explore that. A few of my collages is actually photos I've taken, and with paintings it's different because I need real people. So and that's what the similarity is, that I'm always after confident, powerful, bit of attitude ladies. So I think that's similar because that's the quality I'm always after.
And it's always women.
It's always women. Yeah.
Interesting. Is there ever going to be a man in there, do you think?
I did do one painting of Nelson Mandela and it turned out completely gay. So I don't know if I should.
You tried to make him into a woman?
I didn't mean to. It's just happened, and I also added lots of Pacifica flowers to make him. It was. I think it's maybe a political statement, but it's also my interest. I'm amazed by amazing women. I'm inspired by badass ladies.
Yeah, good. It's a good thing. Yeah, they are very inspirational, and there's a lot of them around who need more of a spotlight, as you say.
I don't think women are celebrated enough. I think we recently we're more coming there, but there's so much work to be done. And someone that like me that comes from art history, I'm exasperated with the male gaze. I think there's a lot of important to explore the female gaze and to have more female portraits. Yeah, we've been there, we've done that.
And celebrating great women. So your oil paintings of people, do you actually get them to sit, or do you take photographs, or how does that process work?
Yeah, I have a photo shoot, usually about an hour. I'll meet them, and I never have a certain position or plan or composition in mind. I really go with the flow. I found it hilarious that I always look for that staunch or some expression, and we just have a laugh. So I get lots of smiling photos, and I'm not interested in painting smiling women. It's so trying to channel that feminine anger is not always that easy.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And why are you not interested in portraying smiling women, do you think?
I think we had enough of that. That's the pleasing woman. That it's so male gaze. It's here to satisfy you and here to look. We do it naturally, looking after others before we look after ourselves. I'd like to think we're moving into more interesting times for women, being more empowered, being more pleasing themselves, being in their power. I think it's my personal journey, but I know it's for many other women.
Yeah.
And I would like to empower younger women to be more like that, to see examples of women in the power, of women going for what, following their dreams, doing what they like. It's a very important message for the young generation.
Yeah. And not just sitting and looking pretty.
Oh, so boring.
So boring. So overdone. Yeah. And so you did have a beautiful exhibition at Studio One Toitu last year. Can you tell us about that?
Thank you. Yes. So that was a quite a large project for me. It was exhibition was called "Where Are You From?" and it was a collection of portraits of Aucklanders. Again, only women, and in this case, women of color from various ethnic backgrounds. It was very important for me to just expand the definition of what a New Zealander is and how we see ourselves. I wanted to make a point about people that look like me, that are still part of this culture and place. And also the question, where are you from? If you're a immigrant, if you have a slight accent, or even if sometimes I've got friends who were born in New Zealand, have got Kiwi accent, but are dark skin and still being asked where you're from quite a lot. So I wanted to change that. I want people not to assume that if you're dark skin, you're not from here. And I think there's always natural human curiosity, which we all have when we meet someone that look from somewhere else. But I wanted people to understand that how it feels from the other side, how it feels when you're constantly being asked where you're from when you live in a place. And it implies a lack of belonging.
Yeah, totally.
And so that's what motivates me, and that's why I chose those specific models. And at the opening, it was very busy opening. It was very, very interesting for me to see that people who don't get that question said something like beautiful portraits or striking color and things. But the people who get that question all the time, a lot to say and really related to the text, the statement I had. And I realized it's a big thing for a lot of people. It's not just personal.
Yeah, I can really see that. And it's something that I hadn't even really thought about, which is embarrassing. But I can understand it must be a strange thing being asked that.
It depends on the context. People, I got that a lot after the exhibition. Said, so what can I ask if I can't ask that? I'm not saying you cannot ask that, but it depends. If you're deep in conversation with someone and then you ask it, it's part of the context. But when you walk into a shop or when you first meet someone and they jump on you with where you're from, or as soon as they hear your accent, it's actually, it's just too much.
Yeah.
Stay with your curiosity. It's okay. And there's also more subtle ways of saying, where's your accent from? Or there's other ways.
That's not actually kind of questioning your belonging.
It's quite hard when you come and you try to make a new life and then constantly being reminded you're not from here and you don't belong here.
Yeah. Do you ever use Middle Eastern women as your subject?
Yeah, actually, I do paint two Middle Eastern amazing women. Nawal Arafat, which is a Palestinian artist. You can look her up, coming from more illustration background. And Rachel Hagigi, which is a long-time friend of mine. They asked me not to call them peace activists because with the current situation, they prefer being called social activists, social and justice activists, they said. So they, during the war, those two good friends, they run lots of peace projects involving Palestinian and Jews together in Jaffa. One of the big projects they were working on was renaming all the streets in Jaffa. Jaffa is the Arabic name for Jaffa. And so, because when it became Israel, they changed all the street name, which were in Arabic after Arabic people, to Hebrew names. So now they did a whole research and interviewed the older people and found out the original names, and they put signs all through the streets of Jaffa with the Palestinian names, the original names for the streets. And for these people who dedicate their life for peace, social justice, I have to correct myself, it's hard to imagine how they feel. And the interesting thing talking to them was that both of them couldn't spend time with the families because they couldn't tolerate what the families were thinking and feeling towards that war. So the only way for them to be is together with other activists. And so for me, coming up from this horrific feeling of witnessing the news, I started painting them. And it was also very important for me to paint them in order to break the narrative, because being so far away, it's very easy to fall into that division of us and them. And I wanted to show New Zealand that the real heroes of the war are the peace activists, and that we're united in it. There's no enemies.
That's really beautiful. And do you feel like you would have been a different artist if you'd stayed in Israel, Palestine?
I'm sure I've been a different artist. I think, it's because you soak in the culture and the sunlight and the bush. I live in the bush. It's part of me. I would have been a different person if I didn't live here. I would have had different interest in people. I would have had, I think where I'm from, I never saw myself as a person of color. It wasn't a thing. I only have this identity while here. I had similar with Africans who go to the States and they're really surprised they have suddenly identify as black, because in Africa you don't identify as black person.
Yeah, so true. And I wonder if you would have discovered collage and painting in the same way if you were still in your birth country.
It's so hard to imagine where would have ended. It could have been my video career. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could have been so many different things.
It's hard to know, isn't it? How do you feel about being an artist in New Zealand, and how do you feel about the art world from a New Zealand perspective?
Interesting question. I think I'm very grateful for New Zealand, because I think you get a chance that's hard to get in other places. There's more room and more opportunities in a way. The other side of it is the audiences is not as other places. We're a very small country, and sometimes it feels majority of people have more interest in rugby than in arts. But it's a vibrant sector, and I keep meeting more and more artists. I think maybe because we got the luxury of living here, we have more time for art. And I'm very passionate about taking New Zealand art to the world, that the world will see what's going on here. And for my personal practice, as well as for my fellow Kiwi artists, I would love to see more New Zealand art out there.
Yeah.
Offshore.
Have you got any thoughts or plans for how you could do that yourself with your own practice?
I've got big plans. So my third youngest child is on his last high school year. So I just smell freedom coming my way, and the world is my oyster. I've started this year a plan for residencies, overseas residencies, which I avoided all those years because of raising children on my own. And I'm learning Italian every day. I am going to try and apply for exhibitions overseas. I also got this thought at the back of my head of creating a collective of us New Zealand artists and do it together.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I think we all need to widen our audiences. It's just, maybe even if it's just over the ditch in Australia, I just think we all need more.
And it would be a great sort of collective to show at a gallery, to have, a group of New Zealand artists showing in Belgium or, wherever. So
much so. I think there's more interest in what's happening here than we believe.
Yeah.
We imagine.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I'd love that idea. It's always hard to kind of get your head, further afield in some ways. It can be a bit daunting for some.
I feel there's so much you do alone as an artist, all those applications and the admin and any opportunity we can get together and do things together is a win-win for everyone.
Do you feel like you found your community of artists here? You have a strong support network?
I still do. I keep meeting more people all the time. I've been very lucky to be part of the Toi Poto program, when I met so many creatives from different mediums. I feel I keep thinking it's a very small community, but then I discovered there's more and more and more, and it's actually not that small.
Exactly. And that's how I feel after doing the podcast. It's like, oh my God, there's just this massive group of incredibly talented, creative people in New Zealand who are very open, to come on the podcast for a start, but very open to share what they're doing and, seem very generous and kind and amazing. And it just seems like there's a never-ending supply of incredibly talented people either living in New Zealand or from New Zealand.
Unite and take over, I say.
I know, absolutely. Yeah, it's very cool. It's exciting. I saw on Facebook and Instagram a beautiful shop local kind of focus, which you did, and that was really showcasing amazing local artists and the beautiful work they're making, and suggesting to people that they get something that's been made by an artist, local artist, instead of going to the shopping mall, which I think was such a fantastic concept, and it really shows the supportive, sort of generous person you are. So how did that come about?
Well, I just finished 2 solo exhibitions and I was very busy promoting myself. And to be honest, by the end of it, I was just sick of promoting myself. And I thought I just would like to do something for someone else and stop talking about myself. And also, I think I would like to remind people of this option. I think it would be so much cooler if people receive gifts made by artists than things made in China and sold at the mall for some massive corporate. So yeah, it's kind of like win-win. I really want to being an artist that tried to make a living in New Zealand. You understand the struggle of others and you just want to support. I know that every sale makes a difference. So I wanted to support my fellow artists, but I also wanted to remind people that they can do better with their gifting, and it just makes the world a better place.
Yeah.
And what cool thing to receive! And I thought, if you collage your Christmas cards with me and then buy a gift from an artist, that's a winning.
Totally. Yeah, I really agree with that, and I try to do that myself, and even just shopping at the local gallery, Kumu Arts. They have a beautiful shop. And everything's been made by somebody, which I just think is so beautiful. And so you're giving, like you say, a gift that is unique and gorgeous, and it's been made by somebody, and it's supporting the artist. So, it's win-win-win.
And it's so much more personal.
Yeah. And choosing an art piece or, a crafted object or whatever it is for a loved one, I think is a really personal gift. Because you're really thinking about what they might like or where they might put it or, it's quite personal.
And sometimes when I feel it's challenging to give someone, because it's hard to tell if they're going to like it or not, I think it's okay. If they don't like it, they can pass it on. It's always someone who would like it. It's not like getting the wrong size shoes. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, but it's always a good challenge to get the right perfect piece for a friend.
And you put a nice thought into it.
Yeah, so that's good message that we can just put out there. Buy local, shop local, support artists.
It makes such a difference to people's lives. It makes it possible for people to keep creating.
And it's also great to support your local gallery, because they don't always have it easy either.
True.
Yeah. So just going back to a couple of things, actually. Firstly, you mentioned Toi Poto, which is a creative mentoring program, yeah. And I was also part of that, and I think that's where we first met.
Yes.
So just for people who don't know, very briefly, could you just explain what that is and how people can get involved?
Toi Poto, if you don't follow them yet, follow them on Facebook or Instagram. It's an amazing program that, you learn a lot, but I think just meeting all the other people was great value. So there were a few stages of Toi Poto. It keeps changing. They keep making it better and better all the time. But it's basically 9 weeks program where every week you learn a different topic. You learn about your personality. You learn about marketing, budgeting, grants. They bring guests, very inspiring guest speakers, and some people go forward for the next stage when you get actually personal mentor from the industry, and you have 6 meetings, I believe, with a mentor. And wow, life-changing.
Yeah.
And so many useful templates. I learned that a business plan is only 1 page. That was mind-blowing. I thought it's like a long, thick document that I'll never... But they just made things so more accessible. I learned how to write a press release. Very important if you want to get out there. And just putting your business hat on.
Yeah, it's really good for that. And it's very supportive. And as you say, it's a beautiful community of experts in that field and, you know, emerging artists, young people, experienced artists, you know, all sorts really. And yeah,
you learn so much from each other.
Yeah. And it's just nice to be, as an artist, to go to places where, you know, we're all artists, we're all kind of fighting the same fight and having the same challenges, but are passionate about the same things as well. Yeah. And back again to your oil painting. Could you describe what your paintings look like?
Very vibrant colors. I don't hold back with my palette. I love striking colors. The women are striking themselves. Someone said in my last exhibition that they even felt a bit intimidated, surrounded by 8 women looking at them.
Good.
Pretty staunch. Yeah, I love that. I love that feedback.
Yeah.
The more recent work, I'm going a little bit away from skin color, and I'm trying to be a bit more playful with the use of paint and brush strokes, and be a bit more free. I think it comes with confidence.
And do you have like one flat color generally behind the person?
For this series, I did. I don't know if going forward it will be the same. Every time I discover something, I just move to the next thing. But I really wanted, for this collection, I really wanted busy backgrounds, but turned out the faces were so strong, there was just no room for anything else.
Yeah, they are very strong, aren't they? It's a good way to describe them. Yeah, and really, I feel like they're very, very recognizable as your work. You seem to have quite a unique style.
Thank you. That's nice to hear. It's I think the imperfections make your personal style.
Yeah.
Because there's a tendency with realistic portrait to really be loyal to the photo, and that's not important to me. So I think that's where the personal, it's your, maybe.
Taking the subject to your own place to a certain degree.
What you see in them, yeah.
But they're still recognizable as the person.
I hope so.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and be interesting to see where you go with those paintings. And do you feel like the collage practice influences your painting practice or vice versa?
Interesting question. I don't really move back and forth. It's kind of long periods. If I had the collage exhibition, I was just collaging for months, and the last year I'd just been painting. So... yeah.
But it's nice, isn't it, that you have the same theme of portraiture that runs sort of across. And even though they're not similar to look at, really, they still have similarities, if that makes sense. Like the subject is often in the middle, isn't it? And there's the background.
Central. I think it's about the quality that comes out from the sitter that is similar. I always adore or love or in awe of that person.
Yeah.
And I think you can see that coming through. You can see I love them.
Yeah, definitely. You can see the passion for sure. Life as an artist, as we all know, is not just working on your practice often. For New Zealand artists particularly. I don't know if it's more than other artists. But you do have a couple of side hustles. So first of all, you do turn a lot of your artworks or some of your artworks into merchandise.
I do.
So can you tell us about that?
Yes. So I don't get prints out of my paintings. They're just one-off pieces. But with the collages, it takes so long and they're so expensive. And I know lots of people love them. So I want to make it more affordable. I went and scanned all my collages, and now I sell limited edition prints, got greeting cards. I did some art journals, a tote bag. So yeah, first of all, to make it more affordable and accessible for people who want to have it, but can't have the big original piece. But also I was hoping to create a little kind of passive income stream to enable me to put more time into painting and be in the studio. The reality is, yeah, I'm really surprised to discover that basically being an artist is about 80% of the time admin and marketing, and 20% of the time really doing the work you want to do. So I've got this dream of having lots of outlets and automated system. I'm far from it, but I'm going there. So there'll be little trickles of money coming in while I do the more meaningful work. But then the moment I get an offer to do an exhibition, I dropped it all last year. I didn't do any of that commercial work. I was just focusing on painting. So I'm hoping this year maybe I could put more effort in getting more outlets and have new products and just create a bit more of a financial stability to enable me to do what I really want to do.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because the reality is I painted for a year and you just hope someone will buy it. You don't get paid all through the year. It's
While
quite
you're
tough.
doing it, it's really tough. And it's such a commitment, and you've got to be so devoted to kind of work towards a project that you're not getting paid for as you work. And you do also have another exciting side hustle of DJing.
Yeah, funny that. It has been a hobby for many years, but once I took art as full-time and I needed some quick money on the side, it became a job. I regularly DJ at Hallertau Brewery. There's one in Riverhead and Clifton, and I'm in Antisocial in town and various other. It's just can earn good money in short time, and I love it.
That's great. Wouldn't feel like work, I imagine.
Oh, it's really nice.
Yeah, that's so good.
And it's also a really good break from using my eyes, just using my ears.
Yeah.
It's just really nice.
What's your genre?
Reggae, dubstep, and jungle.
Nice.
I'm playing in some bush doof in Port Waikato this weekend. It's going to be fun.
Brilliant. And have you done any festivals, or are you planning to?
Not this year. I took a bit of a break. I did Explore in previous years and Prana and Sundays. I'm getting a little bit older and I'm trying to promote younger female DJs at the moment because I've been around. I've been a lot. I kind of broke into the boys' club. So now it's my job to bring the young generation in.
I love the way you do that. You're very, very generous.
It's just very boring to go to a gig and have only boys line up.
Well, we've had a lovely conversation. We've had a lot of cicadas who seem to come and go. It's quite interesting. I think maybe when the sun comes out, the cicadas come out, then they go away again, or they stop singing.
Very in tuned.
Yes, very interesting. Maybe it's something to do with our conversation. Who knows?
Maybe they listen.
So let's talk about the questions. What would you say to your younger artistic self?
I love that question because I feel that when I run my workshop, everything I say to people, whether they're grown-ups or children, is everything I would have said to my young self. Just do it. And don't take no for an answer. I think what I said before about don't think art is only for a few selected artists. Anyone can do it. Anyone can learn the skill of realistic drawing. Achievable.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's very important for me is perfect is overrated.
And what do you find are the biggest challenges in your life as an artist?
I've got one very big challenge, and it's called time. There's so many things I'd like to do, and there's so many things I need to do, and there's never enough hours in the day. That I keep myself away from other mediums. I know that I would love printmaking, and I keep having my eye on the Printopia and other workshops, and I just keep myself away because the next thing will be I have to buy a whole new lot of art supplies and start a new journey. And so I try to keep focused on what I'm already doing.
Yeah. And who do you admire in the art world?
Okay, I've got... First of all, I have to say Rita Angus, which I've mentioned before, huge influence on me. Not just her art, her colors, her compositions, her topics, also who she was as a pacifist in Aotearoa and how she believed in herself as an artist, and how her voice, her political voice, very inspiring. And I quoted her several times in my work. Guerrilla Girls, I love the Guerrilla Girls. Only Americans can be so direct with a message and just give it to your face. And I think they made a huge change in the art scene with the messages. The art world doesn't look the same since they've been around. I also find it very inspiring that no one knows their names. From interview with them, I learned it gives you so much freedom to say things that you don't have to be accountable as a person or as an artist. So yes, just an idea at the back of my head. Recently, I was super lucky, thanks to my mentor Linda Taylor, to meet Jacqueline Fahy, which I always admired her work, the colors, the compositions, even the titles she gives are sometimes hilarious. And it was just absolute delight to talk to her and to see, I think she's 94. I just was buzzing the rest of the day. I just love her energy and her inspiration. Aisha Green, a young New Zealand talent, which I've been following for a while. I love how she can take those very serious, sometimes heavy topics and just deliver them in the most beautiful, harmonic way. Very important messages, but her language, I just recently been to Wellington and I saw the very large recent work. Wow. Sarah Maple, if you don't know, UK artist, staunch feminist, follow her, look her up. She does lots of self-portraits, very powerful. She did those series that I just couldn't stop laughing. She had a massive white poster and she just wrote loosely on it, "This will increase in value," or "You could have done it better." Recently, she became a mom and she did this series called A Labor of Love. And I can't remember, 360 times that she breastfed her baby in 3 months. And each time there's a photo and it's just like a room full of photos. It's overwhelming to understand the labor of love of a mother.
How amazing.
She's half Muslim, half Christian. So she's got a lot to say about those topics too. Very inspiring, staunch lady. And more close to home, Samach Shchade. She's a Israeli-Palestinian. She does huge pencil drawings, very impactful. It's when I saw it in the museum in Tel Aviv, it's just breathtaking. So look her up.
I will. Brilliant.
I noticed they're all women.
Good.
Not surprising.
No, it doesn't surprise me at all. And why do you make the kind of work you make?
Oh, that's another thing we learned to investigate into Poto, our big why. I think, first of all, it's impulsive. I have to do it or I'll die kind of thing. But also, I think it's very important for me to bring beauty into the world. It's a value. Also, with my Stana background, believing the environment really affects how we feel. And that's why also a reason why I choose those colors. Beauty is important for me. It gives me a voice. I don't feel I'm a person that's very good with words, and having color and shapes to express my views is a great way for self-expression. It's important for me to empower viewers, mostly young viewers, and to represent people of color, to go into an art gallery and see themselves, see people who look like us. It's very important for me. Explore the female gaze. Just look at things with different eyes than art history showed us. And I think I'd like to raise awareness, challenge patriarchal narratives and contribute to conversation about social justice, gender equality, girl power. I try not to be too political, but it's hard to avoid.
Yeah, and it's very powerful what you're doing.
Thank you.
And one other cheeky question, I sometimes put in a few cheeky questions at the end of your expected questions. What is coming up for you in the future, and what are your dreams?
I'm very excited about the future. I feel I've finished my 20-something years labor of love, raising my children, being a teacher. And I'd like to have more time in the studio. I'd like to explore more techniques and get maybe a bit looser with my painting. I'd like to have exhibitions overseas and consume art. I'd like to have more time, especially during winter, if possible, when it's winter in New Zealand, to have more travel, more worldly experiences. I'd like to make my collage, a Christmas card, a movement. My vision is that no one will buy cards from the $2 shop anymore. Everyone will collage a card in New Zealand for Christmas. That would be lovely.
Love it.
And world peace could be nice too.
Brilliant. And I love that idea you had, or you spoke of, about, bringing a community of artists together, New Zealand artists, to, head off out of New Zealand and maybe exhibit together or create some sort of collective like that. I think is such a brilliant idea. And I have really enjoyed talking with you, Naomi. Thank you so much for coming out to Muriwai and for sharing your passion. It's been really lovely to hear your perspective on what's happening at the moment in Palestine and Israel and Gaza. And, I can only imagine how it must feel for you. And I guess you would have come up against some negativity around that. But it's lovely that you could go there a little bit in the podcast, and I appreciate your honesty. And I just thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.